There you go. Right, so next up we have Leo Windler, all the way from Deaf. Although London, but you've got an agency in Deaf, which is otherwise known as Kai. So those of you who don't come from Wales. So yeah, please put your hands together for Leo.
Thank you. Do you ever not sleep at night? Do you ever have to sit there and worry about things and they keep you awake at night forever, for days and months and years? That's what used to happen to me when I used to have our own hosting equipment. That changed when we moved to cloud. My name is Leo Lindell. I run an agency of 25 people, and we help sports clubs and governing bodies deliver their solutions online. Some of those names are some names that you should recognise, I hope. The local one that you should recognise is Gloucester Rugby Club. So they're some of the clubs that we run and cite. Approximately 4 years ago, we planned to migrate to the cloud. I'll talk about what the cloud is in a minute, but I'll talk about what our plans were. We had some great, straightforward plans. These sort of plans, the things that we all are used to seeing. We're going to document what we're going to do. We're going to go and find the right people to do it with. We're going to migrate everything over. We're going to have a great time in doing it. It's going to look like that. We're going to take the old stuff, retire. We're going to be really happy. Everything's going to work. The reality didn't look like the plans. It started off looking like the plans. With the documentation went really well. We picked a really good agency to work with on this, and we started the migration. And that's where it went wrong. We ended up deciding there's two choices on any of these sort of migrations that most of you will be familiar with. Do I sit there and take the whole of everything I've got and what they call lift and shift, take the whole stuff over to the other side, or do we migrate and upgrade and move to a better environment and do all of that? And of course, as you could probably gather, we decided we were going to do the latter, replace some of our code, do all this thing. And we went on, and it went on, and it went on. And we were 18 months later, and it was still going on. Until March the 18th, 2018, at 14:03. That's the critical time. But actually, what we really need to do is go back 24 hours. 24 hours before that, I was in Cardiff because my daughter was in a dance thing at university and we'd gone to Cardiff. Great, no problem. Saw her in a dance thing. Midway through that dance session, there was my mobile phone went bing. I got a bing to say that a disk on our old platform had died. Okay, fine. Shouldn't be a problem. We run a big array system. What should happen is I should get another email or another thing in about 20 minutes later to say that the hotspot spare has come in place, so that's a spare drive. Yes, I got one of those. Got another one about 25 minutes later, something like that, to say it's all built, all fine. Everything's fine. Great, no problem. Left Cardiff. It was Wales, France that night, so I didn't stay in Cardiff. Decided to stay in Cribs Causeway, which some of you may know. Ended up staying at the Premier Inn. Premier Inn. Some of you may know why I'm saying this, but I stayed at the Premier Inn that night in Cribs Causeway. It snowed. Got up in the morning, and I said, right, we're driving home. I said to my wife, we're going past Maidenhead, which is where our servers are. We had a disk failure last night. I'm just going to pop in, put a new disk in, drive on. Yep, no problem. So, driving off, going, it literally took 10 minutes because there is the, next door of our servers, we've got all the disks ready, because you should never put in a cold disk into a hot server, all these sort of things. None of that. So I did that, popped in the new disk, carried on driving. About 15, 20 minutes later down the road, I suddenly get a call from one of the other directors who can't see the old platform. What do you mean you can't see the old platform? It's there, it's working. Drive home, drop my wife off, drive all the way back to the data centre. What had happened is I put a brand new disk into the replacement of the disk that had broken. The server did exactly, the disk array did exactly what it was supposed to do. It copied everything off the hot swap spare back to the main disk. Great. In doing that copy, that brand new disk that had been sitting there for about 3 years, brand new, failed. And at the same time, the hot swap spare disk decided to fail. And if anybody knows about what that means, once you lose 2 disks out of an array system, you've given up the game. Even though there's all the hot swap spares gone. Dead. We literally had to make a decision on that Sunday afternoon. Do we do one of 2 things? Do we go back, repair everything, get everything fixed, try and get everything back together? Or this migration plan that we've been on, that we've been going through, where we were about 80% through, do we push to the end? We made a decision that day to push to the end. We pushed and spent the next week working hours to get everything over. We lost 1 data table out of all of our databases. Life, not great, but that was one thing. 1 week later, the following Sunday, I had the best sleep of my life. No more emails, no more text alerts, no more things of sitting there going, is the servers up or are the servers down? Are we worried about this? Are we worried about that? All the worries that when you run your own platform, when you run and own your own servers, and any of you who have actually had to have that thing and get that email to say, oh, from a customer, the server's died, the site's down, you know, because something's failed on the server, worrying about disks, all of that was gone. So I've talked about cloud. So the question is, what is cloud? It's a very grandiose word for what really is infrastructure as a service. Now we're all familiar with software as a service. So you're providing a service, a supplier's providing you a service for software that you use and you only pay for the usage of. And cloud is just another way of saying that, except they came out with a buzzword to try and make it easier or to make it a great thing to sell. You are effectively using a part of a server or servers, and it's not just the server, it's the infrastructure and everything else that goes with it, and you're effectively just paying for your usage of that time that you're using that server, and they are responsible for everything else. There's various different types of cloud out there that you may hear about. Classic ones that you hear about are the public cloud, and that's everything. Everything is that you're normally dealing with is public cloud, if that is something from the iCloud on your iPhone through to the stuff that we use, which is with AWS, through to any of the other services out there. There are other options out there. There is private cloud. That is where banks in particular or financial institutions decide they can't be on the public domain, they have to put it on themselves, so they run everything and they keep it there. Or you get a hybrid mode where you do both. That's really more to do with IT environments, but for what we generally do, which is websites and everything like that, public cloud is the area. There are 2 real tiers in dealing with cloud. The tier 1, as I'm going to call it, is where you're talking directly to the people who own that infrastructure and they do all the work, and they do the work. And you effectively are buying almost the level, almost a raw material from them. And the second level, the tier 2 people, are the people who have actually taken that cloud environment and produced it into a product that you could use without having to have your own DevOps team. So, give you the 2 tier 1s. There are other tier 1s, but the 2 tier 1s that normally come up when you're talking about WordPress are either AWS or Google Cloud. When you're talking about tier 2s, I've chosen 4 here. I'm not saying that they are the only 4. There are lots out there, but these are the ones you hear most about when you're talking about tier 2 cloud providers in the WordPress web space. that means they will actually produce to you a server. Now, a lot of you are probably used to shared hosting or dedicated hosting, and you're going to say, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is, let's just, hold on, sorry. Yeah, it needs an assistant. Is it still? No. Hold on, let me just take the dot off. And then, sorry, I'm just recording myself so I can actually.